Hello, Dr. Crumb. This is my video for the different phases of mitosis, and I do apologize. My whole camera setup isn't the best, but while I was reading the book, I just came across the mitosis section, and I only saw the five. Is it five? Yeah, the five steps: the prophase, prometaphase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. And I know in some other illustrations there is a sixth step in this cytokinesis, so I will be talking a little bit about that. I don't know if you wanted us to go too much further into that, which is just a little further than telophase, but I'll go ahead and flip the camera and show you my drawings here. First off, of course, is the prophase. As you can see in this drawing, we have our chromosomes right here. They're condensed together, and they're connected at the I believe you pronounce it kinetic core, which is right in the center of the chromatids, the two chromatids where they're connected. And of course these are condensed at this stage, and as you can see, my nuclear envelope is represented here. I know I blew it up in proportion, but I'll be talking a little bit more about the nuclear envelope as we go. And you can also see my spindles, my developing bipolar spindles, because they're still not bipolar yet because they're next to each other. So after prophase, we'll be getting into the prometaphase. So let me just flip this over here. And my prometaphase, as you can see, the spindles have not attracted, but they've repelled each other to the opposite sides of the cell. And you can see the polar microtubules, which I represent in turquoise, as well as the spindles. They're going to be in turquoise throughout the entire pictures or illustrations. And as you can see, these black little fragments, they're the nuclear envelope. Since between prophase and prometaphase, it was dispersed and kind of released into the cytoplasm. And then here we still have our chromosomes, and then you can see kind of little pencil markings here. That is the kinetic core microtubules, which they attract to the spindles because of the charges, and those will be playing a role later on. And in prometaphase, the chromosomes are just linked into those microtubules, or polar microtubules, which will later pull them apart into its individual spindles, polar spindles. But the only difference between this and the this and the prophase is that of course the nuclear envelope has disintegrated, and the chromosomes are beginning to take form, or not take form, but they're beginning to just kind of relocate. And we can see here in metaphase, which is the following one, my drawing doesn't represent, especially this red one, but in metaphase, the chromosomes are aligned in the equator of the spindles, where they will continue to be pulled. But as you can see, our spindles are equally, or at least I tried to, equally apart from our chromosomes, which are in the middle. And this phase is just rearranging everything and just keeping everything symmetrical. And that's what I always think about this. Excuse me. And then for the next stage is going to be anaphase. In our anaphase, we'll start seeing a little bit more action as our the chromatids are being pulled towards its respective spindles. So as you can see, I'm going to zoom in a little more. I still have my pencil markings with the kinetic core microtubules. They're shortening now, and they're pulling towards the spindle, which is allowing these chromatids to be separated into their own spindles. And as you can see, I still have little fragments here, which will play a role in our next. But in this phase, you're starting to see increase in space between the spindles, and they're starting to kind of go further and further apart. I don't know if you can tell, but my circle was a little bit more of an oval now than the last few ones. And then the final step that I saw on in the book, or read in the book, was a telophase. And the telophase, you can start seeing that it takes form almost like two separate cells. You can start seeing the nuclear envelope, which you kind of saw throughout the other phases, and they're starting to reform around the new spindle, while the chromatids are starting to unravel, and they become the chromosomes for the future cell. And as you can see, it's starting to close more, and they're starting to separate into like two different cells. Now, the other one I didn't necessarily draw, but the cytokinesis is another one that I did see throughout the throughout some research, and that one reminds me of both telophase and prophase. The reason for that is, as you can see here, cytokinesis would come after telophase, so it would kind of cut that off, and it would create a cleavage furrow, which it wouldn't be necessarily completely cut off, but that'd be in the process. And the nuclear envelope would have been completely completed, so it would have been closed off, and these polar microtubules would be constricted because of the furrow, and as it getting smaller and smaller and getting more compressed until it's finally just cut off. But yes,